Today we're in the 30th lesson in the book of Revelation, the 30th lesson. And we are down in chapter number 13. We're going to start with verse number 10. Now normally, you know that in the past lessons, I have been catching you up in pretty good detail about where we've been in the last several lessons, but I don't have time to do that today because there's one important thing that when we hit it today, I want to make sure we have time to complete it, and that is the discovery of the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is here with us today already, and I'm going to show it to you when we get to that point in the lesson here in chapter number 13. So for just a small little snippet of the lesson from last week, if you remember, we had to go back to the book of Daniel to get an understanding of what John was talking about in the first 9 verses of chapter 13 here in the book of Revelation. And the thing that Daniel showed us was, if you remember, that he showed us that the Babylonian Empire was the beast of the lion with the 2 wings of Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the statue who had the head of gold. Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonian Empire was the beast of the head of gold, and it was represented by the beast of a lion, and a lion is a beast who had 2 wings. Then Daniel begins to prophesy at that point of things that Nebuchadnezzar could never have thought of, because Nebuchadnezzar, neither Daniel or anyone else, knew what was coming after Nebuchadnezzar's Babylonian Empire and what would come next. And so Daniel correctly prophesied the next beast that would come, the next several beasts that would come. And of course now we are looking back in our history books, and Daniel was absolutely correct. The last beast that he mentions has not come yet, though, but because these others have arrived, there's no reason for us to doubt that since Daniel hit it the nail on the head on the beast that we're about to go over, that the last beast, the revived Roman Empire, the 10 toes coming back together, and that beast would not arrive also. No reason to doubt that. The second beast that Daniel prophesied was the beast of the Medo-Persian Empire, the beast of the bear with the 3 ribs in his mouth. And after that, Daniel said there would come the beast of the Grecian Empire. That was the beast of the leopard with the 4 heads and the 4 wings that we talked about last week and we read about back in the book of Daniel. And then finally, Daniel also prophesied about this Roman Empire that was going to come, that would be a beast of iron and clay with 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 diadems. And of course, we know those horns are the result of the ending 10 countries. And the 10 countries are going to come back together. The 10 countries had 10 presidents. And that's that. And it was backed up because the 7 heads that had started that had controlled the nation of Israel. And with this beast arriving, this is going to be the 7th beast in the order of coming from Egypt that ruled Israel, from Egypt to Assyria that ruled in Israel, from Assyria to the Babylonian Empire, from the Babylonian Empire to the Medo-Persian Empire, from the Medo-Persian Empire to the Grecian Empire, and from the Grecian Empire to the Roman Empire. And then the Roman Empire died, as you remember, because one of the heads of this beast to come is dead, and that's the Roman Empire that's dead, that's come back to life. And when it comes back to life, this beast has 7 heads, and so there we have the picture of that beast that is the revived Roman Empire that is to come. And so with that, we kind of sum it up. We know what we know about already is that we know that the Scripture has told us that Satan, the devil, that serpent, is represented in the great dragon. That's who he is. He starts as a serpent in the Garden of Eden. He ends as a great dragon as he grows up. And of course then Satan, the devil, the serpent, the great red dragon, the names that all apply to Satan, is the energizing force behind the revived Roman Empire. He has 7 heads, 10 horns, 10 diadems, and he is a nation, an empire made up of those countries. We've gone over this so much, you should know it well by now, that it's Britain, France, Spain, Italy, North Africa, Macedonia, Greece, Syria, Turkey, and Egypt. this beast is going to have followers. And these followers are going to give him praise and worship and all of that, because they're going to love their country, this beast of a country. They're going to love it. And it's satanically charged. Now the Lord also, through John, gives a warning. And this warning is the same warning that the Lord has given even to the 7 churches, at the end of each letter to the 7 churches. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. Let him hear. That's the warning. And here comes the warning to the Jews that are on earth and to those who are lost and will be saved, because they will accept the Lord as their Savior, not just from the Jews, but also from the Gentiles in the world, that there is a way. If you've got an ear, listen to this in the warning. There is a way for perseverance. And John tells us this. He says, if anyone is for captivity, to captivity he goes. If anyone kills with the sword he must be killed. Here is the perseverance and the faith of the saints. Why will it be important that the Israelite saints think about God? That's a good question. Why will it be important and necessary that everyone whose name is in the book of life will perk up their ears and listen to this prophecy? Well, the answer is simple. God has a plan for each purpose in the final 7 years before His second coming. However, you have to remember, the restraining work of the Holy Spirit has stopped. It's been removed when the church was removed. And evil would then be free to run untethered. And it is for that reason that not all of those whose names are written in the book of life will survive earthly life in those last 7 years. There are those who are going to have their names in the book of life and are going to be with the Lord, but they're not going to survive the last 7 years. Some will be killed. Others will be jailed. And some will take up the sword to defend themselves. Yet those who are still alive on earth and whose names are in the book of life will persevere and enter into the eternal presence of the Lord, whether by surviving the tribulation to enter into that kingdom, or by dying and going to heaven to be with the Lord, or by returning back here with the Lord with the Lord at the time of the battle of Armageddon. So saints will overcome and be with the Lord regardless of how they get there. Saints are going to be with the Lord through death as a martyr, or a natural death, or the Lord's intervention in world events at that time during those 7 years. But there's also going to be some people whose names are not there in the book of life. Now, John goes on to tell us and brings us to a second beast. Now, the first beast is that 7-headed, 10-horned, 10-diadem beast called the revived Roman Empire. For lack of a better name, that's what we are calling it. Now we come to the beast that has 2 horns, chapter 13, verse 11, and John says this, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had 2 horns, like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon," like a lamb, but spoke as a dragon. So now John has described the second beast of the 2 beasts that are in the Revelation. He did not come from the sea or around the sea like that first beastly empire came from. This beast came from the earth. In other words, his origin was not the Great Sea, not the Mediterranean Sea where that first beast came from. It did not come from the same area of the first beast. Where did it come from? John says this creature had 2 horns like a lamb, okay, and he spoke as a dragon. Well, obviously, the second beast had two horns. Throughout the end time passages, horns represent countries. So this beast is coming from two countries. Then we must ask, from what two countries will this beast come from? Now, frankly, Western commentators of the past have quickly pointed this finger at the Roman Empire, and they've pointed their finger at the Catholic Church. Now, this thought is widely spread and widely accepted, and in all the old commentators, this is where this comes from, but they've not done their homework well. However, both of these beasts, the one from the Great Sea and the one from the land, are recognized in the development of this first beast. This beast from the land is going to help with the development of this first beast, the seven-headed, ten-horned, ten-diadem beast. And furthermore, the Roman Empire encompassed 10 countries, not two countries, and it ended, the end of that empire, ended that empire's existence. So we have to ask this question. The end of the Roman Empire basically ended, it was still Christian to the core. So it's just hard to wrap the identity of the two horns of the beast around the Roman Empire and the Catholic Church. The similarities are far too few for it to be the Roman Empire and the Catholic Church. Well, perhaps for the best understanding, we should leave the identity of the horns alone here for now. And we need to look at John's explanation of those horns. And maybe when we continue to think about that, he says they were like a lamb and he spoke as a dragon. Now we think about a lamb as a peaceful, gentle, harmless, innocent, and ceremonially clean animal in the Bible. And we get that from the context of the word pictures found in the Old Testament. Now, on the other hand, John says that this lamb spoke like a dragon. Now, when we think of Bible terms of a dragon, it is forceful, it is ruthless, it's dangerous, it's shrewd, it's deceitful, it's a filthy animal. And we have already discovered that Satan presented himself as a red dragon. Therefore, John must be indicating that when this second beast speaks, he speaks like Satan speaks. So from that, we should be able to extrapolate that this second beast will be gentle as a lamb, pretending to be gentle and peaceful as a lamb, with the evil intent of the devil. The first was formed and based upon the territory of the first beast, I should say, would be the territory that he would rule from, or would be ruling, and that is the territory around the Mediterranean Sea. But this second beast was formed and based on the testimony he would provide. His words, softly spoken, but deadly. Softly spoken. One of the nicest guys you've ever met in your life, but deadly. Where can we find two such countries of the past that have this characteristic? Before we answer that question, it would be wise to see the rest of what John has to say about this beast and return to the horns in Revelation chapter 13, verse 18 when we get there. Now, John says about this beast with the two horns, he tells us about his authority. And John says he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. Did you catch that? The first beast in his presence. So what do we know about the authority of the first beast? He was to be worshipped, chapter 13, verse 4. He spoke blasphemous words, 13, verse 6. And he would make war and kill the saints, 13, verse 7. So this first beast is the revived Roman Empire who wants to kill the saints. So we have it here. Furthermore, all the authority of this first beast was given to him by the red dragon, and that is Satan. This first beast, this beast of this empire, is energized and has the authority given to him by Satan. And now we come along, and all of a sudden, now we have this second beast picking up. So looking at this verse that we just read, we can assume that the second beast has the same authority as the first. Now, when the text says of the first beast in his presence, we should not interpret this to mean that this second beast had power only when he was in the presence of the first beast. No, 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 no. It's because he is part and working with the first beast. This first beast is an empire, the revived Roman Empire. Therefore, this second beast will never be out of the presence of the first beast, because he will be operating within the realm of the first beast. This wording must mean that John saw this second beast arrival after that of the first beast, which he did. The first beast came out of the water from the sea, and the second beast comes off this land. And the two will work as a team in the next months, well, actually for almost 7 years. And John says there's a requirement here, verse 12b. And the requirement is this. John says, and he will make the earth, now that's the land, those who live in the revived Roman Empire, and those who dwell in it, revived Roman Empire, worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. Now, we've already discussed this fatal wound. The fatal wound of the first beast. That wound was healed. That, of course, was the death of the Roman Empire in 1453 AD. The Roman Empire died. It did not merge into a new empire. And its emergence will come back in the last days as this revived Roman Empire. That head will be healed when it's basically raised from the grave, because it's a dead Roman Empire, and then it's going to come back and be part of the 7 empires that are going to rule through this last empire. Therefore, we can say that this second beast will act like a minister or a prophet within the realm of this first beast. He will not be a prophet for good, but rather for evil. And then that causes us to realize that this second beast will cause the people to look to the first beast as their all-in-all savior of the empire. And of course, by that time, all the socialist and all of that capitalism will not be a part of this empire, folks. Not at all. Not like we live in America. This will be a total socialist, communistic type empire. As we have warned with the second seal, when what Vladimir Lenin wanted to introduce, and what Karl Marx before Vladimir Lenin wanted to introduce, and what is being proposed for America today is a total socialist empire like this revived Roman Empire will be. The empire, this religion wants you to adore this empire, this first beast empire. This empire is to be believed, one to be trusted, one to be respected, and one to be worshipped. I want you to notice also, John says he makes the earth worship. He does not suggest it, folks. He does not advise it. He does not recommend it. He makes. The people of the beastly revived Roman Empire will have no choice. They will be required to worship the beast, just like in many parts of the world today. If you do not belong to one specific religion, which is, by the way, the religion that we are headed to in this passage, if you do not call upon that religion to be your religion, you are an infidel and you will be killed. It does not give you an option. It does not suggest it to you. It does not advise you. It does not recommend it. It makes you be part of that empire. This empire will have no choice but to accept this first beast and the second beast religion, they will be required to worship the religion of the first beast. Now there's going to be signs, so you'll know it. Verse number 13, there's a sign that you'll know it. And John says, he performs, talking about this second beast, so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men. We have already reviewed the authority given to this second beast because the authority matched that of the first beast. If the first beast wants to rain down nuclear weapons on the earth, the second beast has the authority to do and to say it's time to rain down fire on all the infidels. But here we see that this second beast has the ability to perform these great signs that John has never seen before. And we can rightly call these signs miracles. Folks, us being able to bring rockets down and everything, that basically is miracles to me. It really is. John would have never known what this was. And the passage states that they could make fire come down out of heaven to earth. Now, we're not told how this second beast is going to accomplish this task. And I have suggested that it will be nuclear weapons or bombs or whatever. Whatever it is, John saw it. It may be a real miracle. It may be just sleight of hand. In the days of the plagues in Egypt, if you remember, Pharaoh's magicians were able to mimic the first few miracles that the Lord performed in front of Pharaoh. But they finally came to an end, and they had to admit there in Egypt that they could not copy those miracles because they truly were miracles, not with sleight of hand. Until the last 500 years, making fire come down from heaven was limited to flaming arrows and ordnances from catapults. And since the 1300s, cannons and other arms have been used to throw fire. But none of that would have been considered a miracle because we knew how it was happening. It wasn't coming from outer space. But today, with wireless electronics, arms can be positioned and stored for years and can be fired at will. And when it seemed to appear miraculously out of nowhere from the other side of the earth, to John, that would have looked like a great sign or a miracle. All of this is to say that this second beast may have the power to rain down fire. However, it may be nothing more than hocus pocus at its apex. Nevertheless, the people of the beastly revived Roman Empire will admire the signs as miraculous of what this second two-horned beast calls for. John then tells us this, and he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given him to perform in the presence of the beast. It's hocus pocus, folks. The admiration of these signs or miracles performed by this second beast was nothing but deception in two ways. First, the signs will cause the people to think that these two beasts were godlike. And second, the signs will cause the people to worship the wrong God. It's total deception. Then John tells us about the image. And he says this. He says, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who had the wound of the sword and has come to life. What better way to deceive the people? Take some metal of some sort and cast it into an image of the first beast. Set it up in the courtyard of the Capitol where everyone can come and see it. And make sure inside that you create it inside with hinges and motors and electronics so that it can move and talk and everything. I don't know if you all ever remember, if you went to the State Fair of Texas, there was Big Tex and his mouth would open up and talk to you. Yeah, motors, hinges, electronics were all used for that. John talks about the breath. The breath when he says this. He says, and it was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast would even speak and cause as many as do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. to be killed. What a better way to deceive people. Cause this image of the beast that you have created with some sort of metals to come to life, or at least seem to come to life. Place a speaker in its mouth so that it can speak at its own will. Attach eyes to the camera that will cause the image to appear to see those who worship him and those who do not. Snap a picture, send it to officials who immediately take to the streets, find the rebels who do not worship, and kill them. And look for that mark. Verse number 16. Look for that mark. John says, and he causes all, the small and the great, and the rich and the poor, and the free men and the slaves, to be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. With the threat of death aimed directly at everyone within the empire of these two beasts, it is no wonder that when a mark is required on the right hand or on their forehead, it will be accepted. The mark. Now, the mark. The mark has restrictions. The mark has restrictions. Verse number 17 says, and he provides that no one will be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast, or the number of the name. The lack of the mark will cause great turmoil for people living in the revived Roman Empire just to buy food. We buy and sell things every day. We use money. Money is the only thing that is actually required. But in that day to come, money will not be enough. If anyone wishes to buy or sell within the beast empire, as well as any other country wanting to do business with that beast empire, the mark of the beast will be required. No mark, no purchase. No mark, no transaction. No mark, no market. No black market will dare exist in that day. No one will dare defy the system. The second beast will bind the people of the first beastly revived Roman Empire completely to Satan's desires. It will be a total economic enforcement upon the people to make them slaves in the worst way, just like socialism and communism does. To force them to be slaves in believing and slaves in eternity, slaves to the great dragon, Satan. It is interesting that the verse states that the person must have either the name of the beast or the number of his name engraved on the right hand or on the forehead. What is the beast's name? We do not know. However, the scripture does tell us what his number will be, and we come to the number, and John says, here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast. See the word calculate? For the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. You see, the scripture says, here is wisdom. What does that mean? Wisdom is the ability to take bits and pieces of information and apply them appropriately for their greater use. You see, he says, let him who has understanding. Well, what does that mean? Understanding is the ability to gather those bits and pieces of information to be used so that wisdom can prevail. There are two things that can be said about John in this passage. First, this is a prophecy within the prophecy directed clearly far into the future when these beasts actually appear. Second, John probably had absolutely no idea what this number meant, save that it was the number that is that of a man, and that number is 666. It was for wisdom and understanding of those at the time coming up to when these beasts arrive, that they will arrive and the number will be of their name that they go by 666. The revelation of the 666, I'm telling you, must be simple. Perhaps the beast will speak Arabic and his name will be Mizbalia, and there's written in Arabic. The whole phrase that we often hear spoken but do not understand is Bismalia ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which means, catch it here, we hear it often, we just don't know what it means. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. That's what 666 means. The wording is found at the beginning of each chapter of the Quran except for one chapter. And with that, Bismillah is also the first word in Islam's Quran, and it is translated there as the phrase, in the name of Allah. Now, when we break down the Arabic phrase, Bismillah, down we first find that Bism, and we find the word Allah. Bismillah. That's what we get. Now, after much research and many inquiries for help with determining the number value of the letters in Bismillah, an Islamic website that I found provides the value for this Arabic phrase. And this website presented the following for the whole passage, which the whole passage was, in the name of Allah, the compassionate and the merciful. And here comes what I'm about to show you, comes directly from that website. Watch how it breaks it down. Now you see the circle and you see those strange letters that are there. Calculate 5, 30, 30, and 1. Add that up. Add that up. That equals 66. And you keep on looking, and by the way, several commentators have incorrectly stated that the numeric sum of the whole word Allah is 666. Well, it's not. It's only 66. So when they say the name of Allah is 666, that's totally false, because it's only 66. However, when you keep reading, see that circle I have there with that other little letter there? That's there too, and that's the word Allah. And that little letter has the value of 6. So when you add that in, you have 666. Okay? It's not the end of the search, folks. When looking at the text of the chapter of the Quran, we find that the word Allah, the W in the word is the 27th letter of the Arabic alphabet, but it has a sequential value of 6, and it is called Wa. And in Arabic, it is the symbol that I've showed you. Kind of looks like a comma, but it's interesting. And it serves several functions in the language. And it is primarily used like a conjunction, like we have, for and but, and that type of stuff. However, it has another most important function as the indicator, because it also indicates a pledge. It indicates an oath, where you make your oath to, or you make your pledge to. When it precedes a noun of great significance, like the word Allah, it means pledge to or oath to. In the Quran, it often is preceded by the word Allah, and as seen in the example to the right, it means I swear to Allah. Wa Allah. I swear to Allah. Therefore, we might safely say, with wisdom and with understanding here in this late day of where we live, that when the beast arrives, in whatever language he will be using at the time, he will undoubtedly have a name that will clearly equal the number in human language of 666. If that language is Arabic, it will be the word Wa'ala, meaning I swear or I pledge to Allah. It is already found in the Quran 9 times. The Quran, it's already there. I swear to Allah. Now, I am so thankful to Isha Dadus. He's a faithful member of my previous church whose native language was Arabic before he ever learned English. And what I've just presented to you in this section is really new for the revelation. I needed a truth. I needed an Arabic expert to confirm my correct work. Had I done the work correctly? Had I truly found what I needed to know what the 666 is? And Isa did just that, and I'm eternally grateful to him. Now, he's not the only one I have compared this to. I've now met others, but Isa was the first. And once I had placed this new section in the lesson, I realized that the Arabic word, I swear to Allah, contained extra markings above the words. And so I needed to know what they meant. And Isa gave me a wonderful letter that he wrote me. And I've put that letter in your lesson, and you can read that letter to what he explains. In the bottom line of all of this, I'm not going to read you the letter, but because you've got it in your notes, what he told me is, this name, Wa'ala, the number is 666 or 666. Now I'm going to tell you something that you don't know. When you look at the jihadists, the terrorists, and really even just normal Islamic people who are wearing a headband, you see that little circle up there? That circle has the word Wa'ala on that headband. When you see an Islamic flag, it's usually on the flag twice. Wa'ala there in the top, Wa'ala somewhere down on the flag. In the other way that you sometimes see that Arabic language written, it's right there on the red one too, Wa'ala. Now, contrary to Islamic claims, the word Allah is never found in the Holy Bible, in the Greek or the Hebrew. Never found there. The horns at this point in the story, we need to return to this topic, and we need to find out where these two countries, where these two horns come from, where this beast comes from, the earth. He's not coming from the sea, he's coming from two countries. And we've established that horns represent countries. And for the first beast, that's the 10 nations. And so it's not going to be from any of these countries of the revived Roman Empire. No. But it is going to be from countries to the east of the revived Roman Empire. And so when we look to the east, to the original powerhouse empires, it's interesting what we are going to see. East, we would go over into the Arabia, to Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the others. You see them there on that map. Well, there on that map, there were two primary major countries that arose and were in place after the completion of our New Testament. And I want to show this to you. At the end of the Roman Empire, these 5 confederate countries. Now I want you to see there, one is called the Confederate of Arabia. Now we call that the Arabian Peninsula. The other is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's Aqoyunlu. Arabia had virtually the same boundaries that it has today in 1453 and operated with Yemen as its center of trade and authority in the Islamic culture. In that other area was called the White and Black Sheep Turks. Both were Sunni Muslims. So unless some religious movement comes in and sweeps away these two countries, the landmass of this part of the world will continue to be Islamic through the end times. Furthermore, these two countries from 1453 have done nothing but move westward with their religion and demanded all people of all countries that have invaded that they have invaded to pledge to their God, Allah. The penalty for failing to accept their God was and still is death. Unless some other religion. The birth of Islam occurred after the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. But before the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire, it began in a small area of Arabia in 621 AD and grew rapidly over the next 12 years through war and coercion to become the religion of all the landmass we know as these two confederate countries, states, which include Armenia, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria, Turkey, and a small section of Russia. The two-horned false prophet will be Muslim, and Islam will be the religion of the satanic revived Roman Empire. He is a religion. And with all that has been said in this discovery, the horns of this second beast must come from these origins of this religion, the two countries of those two confederates, as they were called in 1453 at the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire. And with that as the case, this second beast is not a person either, but it is a religion that requires total loyalty by taking the name of its God. Take the name and a peaceful life will be available to you. Refuse the name and death will come quickly. Current events in that part of the world today confirm this conclusion in the news almost every day. Every day. The first beast is the revived Roman Empire. The second beast is the Islamic religion that will be part of the revived Roman Empire. Both satanically charged. Both have their authority from Satan.